Shalom, shalom, and good evening. Welcome to the Nilvah Nexus. jamestheidolsmasher at gmail.com is the place to go if you want to get in direct contact with me. Otherwise, hey, we'll be here on YouTube, Twitter, and at the Orphans of Abraham Facebook group right here every Thursday at 8 p.m. with my co-host entering the room as we speak.
Shalom, y'all.
Shalom. We will be doing this every Thursday, most Thursdays anyway. We usually do a Torah study, Torah chat, which we still can do, but however, we are in the middle, or actually at the conclusion of Zechariah. Or as we say here in the States, Zechariah. Zechariah. That's how Zechariah. And it's not enough that we say it that way. It's, I think, for the first 48 years of my life, or the first 40 some odd that I could write, that I wrote it, I would write Zechariah. Every time. I think I still write it Zechariah today. Zechariah. So, Rosalie, how you doing today?
I'm okay. I survived work. I survived the lovely hack that I got last night.
Yeah?
Well, that was fun.
A hack?
Yep. I got a message on Facebook from my girlfriend saying she was hacked. Well, she's pretty knowledgeable and everything else about, so I figured she got it figured out, 7-8 hours later. She didn't. And it's like, it started out, I need you to download this so I can get a code so I can use my computer, which I did, which was bad. And that's how they get you, so don't do it. So once I got back on Facebook at 4 a.m. this morning, it took me 4 hours to figure it out, but I got it did. I reported the bastard, and I'm not apologizing for that phrase. And I gave Facebook the email, his email address. They're out of New York too, and that I forgot to put on there, but they're out of New York, or so it said. But anyway, I posted the email address so anybody else that's got from him sees this, don't do it. So she's still not on yet, and I figure I will help them out later on. So there's that.
That sounds like an ordeal.
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, you have to scan your ID and everything for Facebook to let you back in. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, they have to make sure it's you, because if you've been hacked, they don't want no part of it. This way they got your ID on file, but they can't keep it. So that's what they said. So I did that, and I was back on. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get it back on my phone. I haven't been able to do that yet. That's why I couldn't get a hold of anybody. But I got a hold of you on Twitter and left you a message saying, I got hacked, and I don't know if I'll be here today, but here I are.
Good.
So,
well, good.
So that's how my last 20 day is the 36th day of the Omer, which is 5 weeks and 1 day. For those who are counting.
I got me one of these today.
Nice.
That is, and with the little antenna, I'm getting a one that's not going to be like this, but this is a FCC licensed Part 15 FM transmitter.
Nice.
This allows any citizen can broadcast on the standard FM band, 88 to 107 or 108, on half a watt. So it looks like my little village here that I live in is going to get a little new radio station in town.
Cool. Can you plug it into like your computer and go?
In fact, what I'm running online now is going to be what's going to be on the airwaves. It just won't be. It'll be a different. It'll have call letters and have an actual station. But yeah, it's just an audio in or mic in, and you could run it from your phone if you wanted to. If you had an emergency, something to put on there. If you had some news and it's all on your phone, you could just plug it right in and broadcast it. So
you got to register with FCC.
Nope, no license needed for Part 15.
Nice.
So, and it's FM too, so it'll sound good. So that's my little toy I'll be playing with. And we might even have a Noahide hour on Sunday mornings. You never know.
Oh boy.
Anybody in Kansas, I don't know how too many would be interested, but
well, I can't help you with that because I'll be at work.
Because of what?
I will be at work.
Oh. Yeah. Have you noticed kabod, which we'll be looking for if you want a great source right now? We're going to be reading the Rashi and Chabad.org gives it all to you. You can go there. Just go to learning. Text, he goes to the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, go to Zechariah. They got a whole new layout now. It looks great. Much bigger letters, easier to read. And even Mechan Mamre has a little bit of a, you can go there as well. MECHON-MAMRE.org. Fantastic translation. A lot there. About as much as Chabad would give you, but maybe more in a more drier format. So I think we're in 11 or 12. Was it 12?
I think we left off somewhere on verse 6. But I can't remember.
Let's start from 11 at the top then.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
All right. And there's a link over here in the YouTube page that if you want to join in the conversation, you want to talk about Zechariah or the Torah in general. We'll be reading from Zechariah, but we'll probably finish it up and take some questions and whatnot. So keep that link handy. We might we would love to have you anyway. So with that said, so are we on 11?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to start off on the JPS Tanakh version. Here we go. Chapter 11 of Zechariah. All right. Throw open your gates, O Lebanon, and let the fire consume your cedars. Howl, cypress, for cedars have fallen. How the mighty are ravaged. Howl, you oaks of Bashan, for the stately forest is laid low. Hark, the wailing of the shepherds, for their rich pastures are ravaged. Hark, the roaring of the great beasts, for the jungle of the Jordan is ravaged. Praised be the Lord, I'll get rich, and whose shepherd will not pity, and whose shepherd will not pity them. For that was in quotes, by the way. Praised be the Lord, I'll get rich, and whose shepherd will not pity them. For I will pity the inhabitants of the land no more, declares the Lord. But I will place every man at the mercy of every other man, and at the mercy of his king. They shall break the country into bits, and I will not rescue it from their hands. So I tended the sheep meant for slaughter. For those poor men of the sheep, I got two staves, one of which I named Favor, and the other Unity, and I proceeded to tend the sheep. But I lost the 3 shepherds in 1 month. Then my patience with them was at an end, and they in turn were disgusted with me. So I declared, I am not going to tend you. Let the one that has to die, die, and the one that is to get lost, and let the rest devour each other's flesh. Taking my staff Favor, I cleft it in 2, so as to annul the covenant I had made with all the peoples. And when it was annulled that day, the same poor men of sheep who watched me realized that it was a message from the Lord. That I said to them, if you are satisfied, pay me my wages. If not, don't. So they weighed out my wages, 30 shekels of silver, the noble sum that I was worth in their estimation. The Lord said to me, deposit it in the treasury. And I took the 30 shekels and deposited it in the treasury of the house of the Lord. Then I cleft in 2 my second staff, Unity, in order to annul the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. For the Lord said to me further, get yourself the gear of a foolish shepherd, for I am going to raise up in the land a shepherd who will neither miss the lost sheep, nor seek the strayed, nor heal the injured, nor sustain the frail, but will feast on the flesh of the fat ones and tear off their hooves. And the song reads, O the worthless shepherd who abandons the flock, let a sword descend upon his arm and upon his right eye. His arm shall shrivel up, his right eye shall go blind.
Yeah, if that doesn't speak to us, I don't know what does.
Loud and clear.
Yep. It's that measure for measure thing, guys.
And it comes back on him too. I mean,
Yep. Well, hey.
on like a national level, that was the whole lesson of the Exodus. Yes, God loves his people, God takes care of them, but that was a measure for measure on Egypt for the way the nation treated his nation.
Right.
So, justice shall you seek.
Yep. So Hashem is putting in people who do not know what the hell they're doing, and he's going to let the nations fall. And the thing is that they're all pointing at Israel. When they start going to Israel, Hashem's smart. He's not going to the nations. He's letting the nations go to him. And when they start getting everything, which would be Gog and Magog, when it happens, the nations are coming to Israel, and he's going to get them there.
One way or another, with an outstretched arm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lebanon is known for their forests at this point, and the trees. And what we're reading, or what I'm finding out from the Rashi here, is that these were speaking of the peoples and the kings.
Mm-hmm.
The whale, O cypress, for the cedar has fallen. The cedar, this is Rashi.
Mm-hmm.
The cedar, which is bigger than the cypress, has fallen. And then he says, how the rulers for the kings of the nations have fallen.
Mm-hmm.
Whale oaks of the Bashan. It says here, kenses or chenses of Old French, kensens in modern English. For it has gone down, for it has been broken. Similarly, this expression in Isaiah 32:19, and he shall hail down the breaking of the forest. Strong-walled cities, fortified forests, strong-walled cities. A lot of imagery, you know what I mean?
Yep.
The shepherds are considered the kings in this. The roar of the young lions, the princes shall weep. And the big commentary here from Rashi on the pride, for the pride of the Jordan has been spoiled. The pride of the Jordan, which is the place of the young lions and old lions, our sages, Yoma 39b, explained, open your doors, O Lebanon, as the prophet prophesizing about the destruction of the second temple, that 40 years prior to the destruction, the doors of the temple proper would open by themselves. Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai rebuked them. He says, temple, how long will you terrify yourself? I know that you will eventually be destroyed. Zechariah, the son of Iddo, has already prophesied concerning you. Open your doors, O Lebanon, etc. I know we call it the second temple, but it really wasn't a temple, was it?
It was.
A nice tribute, maybe, but nobody came home, and it was built to dedicate to the god of King Herod. What was that? I don't even know the name of it.
I don't either. Well, let's not speak of it. So where do
So see, verse 4, so said the Lord my God, tend to the flock of slaughter. Prepare shepherds for them, i.e. prophecy concerning their leaders who are destined to lead them from now on. And the flock of the slaughter is Israel, whose shepherds slew them and devoured them. In fact, everything we're reading here in this particular chapter was concerning the kings of the nations going down.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Well, we really have our wannabe kings. I mean, really, how many real kings are there left? I guess Charles.
Yeah. Denmark still has one. Sweden still has one. I think Spain still has one. Japan does too.
Spain? No kidding. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure about China. But Japan still has their emperor. China, I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about the other eastern places, but yeah, they've still got the kings, but they're just not all that important anymore.
All right. You want to take chapter 12? You want me to do
Sure.
it? All right.
Okay. Chapter 12. The prophecy of the word of the Lord concerning Israel. Says the Lord, who stretches out the heavens and founds of the earth and forms the spirit of man within him. Behold, I am making Jerusalem a cup of weakness for all the peoples around, and also on Judah, that he shall be in the siege against Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass on the day that I will make Jerusalem a stone of burden for all peoples. All who bear it shall be gashed, and all the nations of the earth shall gather about it. Does that not sound familiar?
Yes.
All right. 4. On that day, says the Lord, I will smite every horse with bewilderment, and its rider with madness. And upon the house of Judah I will open my eyes, and all the horses of all the peoples I will smite with blindness. And the princes of Judah shall say to themselves, the inhabitants of Jerusalem were my strength through the Lord of hosts, their God. On that day I will make the princes of Judah as a fiery stove among wood, and as a brand of fire among sheaves. And they shall consume on the right and on the left all the nations round about, and Jerusalem shall still stay in its place in Jerusalem. And the Lord shall first save the tents of Judah, so that the boasting of the house of David and the boasting of the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall not increase over Judah. On that day the Lord shall protect the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the weakest of them shall be on that day like David. And the house of David shall be like angels, like the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass on that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come upon Jerusalem. See what I mean? He's dragging them in, and he's going to get them right there. And I will pour out upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplications. And they shall look to me because of those who have been thrust through with swords, and they shall mourn over it as one mourns over an only son, and it shall be in bitterness, therefore, as one is embittered over the firstborn son. On that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, like the mourning of Hadadrimmon, okay, in the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart. The family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart. And the family of the Shemites apart, and their wives apart. All the remaining families, every family apart, and their wives apart. Hmm.
That's pretty harsh.
Mm-hmm.
They had an angel in Chabad. I noticed here on Mechan Mamre, the old JPS. It's that the temple will be like they say godlike being. I was like, whoa! I went over here to the new JPS over here in the Tanakh, and it said as a divine being. The house of David like a divine being, like an angel of the Lord.
Yep.
That's how I would expect it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the actions of the ark. The ark seems to be an actual temperamental thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Rashi's commentary with the first verse. That says the prophecy of the word of the Lord. This is the completion of the word that he began to speak about the retribution of those who devour Israel, Esau and his ilk. Hello, Rome, wake up. That's all you Christians out there. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. they're talking about Americans need to have faith in their institutions again, and I'm thinking, why? They're the ones that failed us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Won't you tell me where could I go but to the Lord? Edom and his ilk. Oof. Nice way of putting it.
Esau and his ilk. Yep.
Esau, sorry.
Yep.
Same, yeah, but
Same
yeah.
thing. Yeah, same thing.
Ooh. Behold, I am making Jerusalem a cup of weakness for all the peoples around, and also on Judah, that he shall be in the siege against Jerusalem. It says, I have vessels of weakness, as in Exodus 12:12, in the blood that is in the cup. All right, I got to look up Exodus here. Hang on here. We're going to have to look this up.
You go right ahead. I'll let you.
And that was, let me go back here, 12:12. So
12:22.
Or 12:22. 12:22. What's the difference? It just take me a lot longer to get there.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And okay. This is during Passover. Oh, it's right. Is it okay? Right as we're counting the Omer. This okay. So what they're saying here is, ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the lamb blood.
Correct.
A vessel of weakness in the blood that is in the cup. A cup of weakness for all the peoples around.
Mm-hmm.
An expression of bewilderment. It means the clogging of the heart and the limbs. For like the man enwrapped in a garment, they have no strength. As in Nahum 2:4, and the cypress trees were enwrapped in Isaiah 3:19, and the branches and the veils. In the language of the Mishnah, Sabbath 6:6, we find Arabian women may go out unveiled. It is, I don't understand this.
Notice we find Arabian women may go out veiled. They have to wear a veil.
Okay.
Since 1972. Burkas and everything else.
And that's part of weakness. It's an expression of weakness. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not the speaking of which, mark my place. A friend of mine over there in Israel says Netanyahu just declared that they're actually going to do a war with Iran.
All right.
I mean, it's not going to take much, because I bet once they start, the people are going to do the rest of the job.
Right.
Everything I hear, the people of Iran are fed up.
Oh, yeah. They have been for years.
Boy, I'm glad we're reading this now.
Mm-hmm.
Clogging of the heart and the limbs, for like the man enwrapped in a garment, they have no strength. A cup of weakness. The nations that will be in siege against Jerusalem will impose upon Judah, for the house of David will be inside, and the Gentiles will besiege them, and also the children of Judah will come against their will to besiege Jerusalem. So did Jonathan render it. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My mind's being blown here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, a stone of burden placed upon men in order of the ruler to carry it and to load it on their shoulders. It is very heavy to the extent that all who bear it become gashed. I still think there's some meaning of that big thing sitting over there that needs to be blown away. In Mecca.
I will make Jerusalem a stone of burden for all peoples. Oof. Ah. This is interesting. All right, the next Rashi here. Okay. And I'm reading this too. I will strike every horse with bewilderment and the rider with madness. Shem Ephraim. Oh, it says right here. But upon them, of those gathered there will with bewilderment and blindness, and their horses will be with madness. But upon the members of the house of Judah, who are among those gathered against their will, I will open my eyes to protect them from this plague. So while they're besieging Jerusalem against their will, as it was just saying, as he just said, they're going to wake up to the nations. They're going to wake up to what side they're on. That's what it sounds like.
I like this. The princes of Judah will say to themselves when they see that the others who were gathered are plagued with this plague, and they are saved. Gee, didn't we just get done with a 2.5-year plague? I had to tie in there.
So their eyes are going to be everyone's going to go madness around them, and they're not.
Yep. Pretty much.
That's wild. That's just. Yeah. That's merciful and justful at the same time.
Measure for measure. Yep.
Is this why we don't want to give Jews who stray too much flack?
Pretty much.
You know what I mean?
You gotta love them. Try to bring them back. And for number 6, it says, I will make the princes of Judah. They will return and wage war with those who brought them there. I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I'm not sure because we haven't gone over this yet, but I'm not really sure. I mean, if we take the Parshat as is, it's like, okay, are they talking about the Palestinians here?
The inhabitants of Jerusalem were my strength. Through the Lord of hosts, their God. When they see that the others, this is Rashi, who gathered plagued with this plague, they are saved. The inhabitants of Jerusalem who know that we come upon them against our will strengthened my help with their prayer by the Lord their God. I'm not sure. I don't know that either. I don't. Yeah, because he does say inhabitants. He'll say, the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. He's not saying, house of Israel. He keeps saying the inhabitants of Jerusalem, which would indicate there's a lot more there than just the Jews, just more than Israel.
Well, it's flip-flopping. That's why. Front side, back side.
Okay. All right. You want to go 13? Mind if I do it?
Go for it.
I'll read it. I want to go and make on memory just to give it variety because I like variety. Because I can.
Okay.
I like variety. Variety's good. 13, chapter 13. Bada boom, bada bing. Hey, there we go. In that day there shall be a fund to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for purification and for sprinkling. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land.
Yay!
Yeah, right. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophecy, then his father and his mother that begot him shall say unto him, Thou shalt not live, for thou speakest lies in the name of the Lord. And his father and his mother that begot him shall thrust him through when he prophesieth, when he prophesies.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophets shall be brought to shame every one through his vision when he prophesieth, neither shall they wear a hairy mantle to deceive. But he shall say, I am no prophet. I am a tiller of the ground, for I have been made a bondman from my youth. And one shall say to him, What are these wounds between thy hands? Then he shall answer, Those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd and against the man that is near unto me, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, It is my people. And they shall say, The Lord is my God.
Go Gear.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to point out in number 6, these wounds between your hands, between your shoulders, they are flogged. They are flogged of the sinners who loved me and reproved me on my straight path. They were flogged. They were not nail things.
They weren't nailing people up to wood for a good century later, or 500,
right.
700 years.
Right.
And if I can find... In the JPS, I am not a prophet. I am a tiller of the soil. You see, I was plied with the red stuff from my youth on. And if he asks, What are those sores on your back? He will reply, From being beaten in the house of my friends, for being beaten in the homes of my friends. Sores on the back, a little bit different.
Right.
The red stuff, connecting Adam with Adam, red. Meaning of the Hebrew would be uncertain. I was also in Proverbs 23:31, the red stuff. Just a second. Okay, never mind. I've been made a bondman from my youth. Was plied with the red stuff from my youth. What did it say in Kabod? Let me get over here.
Which one? Which verse?
5. Let me get over here to Kabod and get some Rashi. Let's go. Let's Rashify this.
For a man entrusted me with his cattle. Menahem Machberath, page 156, second edition, interpreted as an expression of livestock of flocks and livestock of cattle. Genesis 26:14. He entrusted me from my youth to watch his livestock.
I haven't played with the. Now this don't make no sense.
Sorry.
Is it verse 4?
Yeah, but the false prophets are going to be gone, and that's half the battle.
It's the red stuff that's getting me. I'm not a problem until I've learned I was plied with the red stuff. And they shall be each just a moment here. I've been trusted with me with his hands from cattle from my youth. That is from the red stuff. See what I mean? I mean, boy, I need more Hebrew. Okay, well, I'm not sure exactly how that translates from the red stuff.
I don't know what you're saying, so
yeah,
I don't even know where the red stuff is.
I know it reads here. I'm not a prophet. I'm a tiller of the soil. You see, I was plied with the red stuff from my youth on. Connecting Adam with Adom, which means red. I don't understand why. I just don't. Yeah. Well,
they ask about the wounds. Yeah. And it says between your shoulders, there they flog the sinners.
There you go. Not what you thought. That was some thought, I'm sure. Purification. There won't be need for prophecy anymore.
No, there are no more prophets, period. And nobody should be prophesying because it's all false. Because the prophets are all gone.
The moment
until the Mashiach comes again. Until Ezekiel comes, or Elijah, excuse me.
Elijah, yeah. Spirit of contamination removed from the earth. That is the evil inclination. That's the USB hub that the Satan bus can be plugged into, or the Satan drive can be plugged into.
There you go.
Yeah, when you believe in the devil, no, but we believe in the evil inclination.
A
hairy mantle. So is the custom of those who entice or draw away the people to entrap themselves with mantles as though they are righteous men in order that their lies be accepted. So
Messianics. The Messies. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
They're sitting on the fence post because they don't know if they want to be Jews or Christians. So they're just bundling it all together and saying, okay, better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
You want to missionize, that's fine. But when you start missionize the Jews.
Yeah, no.
That God ain't going to tolerate that shiznat.
That's right.
The hairy mantle. Okay.
Yeah, it just screams at Jacob and Esau, doesn't it? The hairy mantle that Jacob put on when he went to Isaac to get his blessing. That's what popped out at me, but it's like it doesn't speak of that. So
I was thinking of when I say hairy mantle, I thought of people who made themselves out to be lords. They would be the ones who wore the fur,
right.
So they'd be marked. All right, you ready for chapter 14?
Yeah. Okay, chapter 14. Behold, a day of the Lord is coming, and your plunder will be shared within you. And I will gather all the nations to Jerusalem to wage war. And the city shall be captured, and the houses shall be plundered, and the women shall be ravished, and half the city shall go forth into exile, and the rest of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And the Lord shall go forth and wage wars with those nations, like the day he waged war on the day of the battle. That's not good. And on that day his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem from the east. And the Mount of Olives shall split in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, a very great valley. And half the mountain shall move to the north, and the half of it to the south. And you shall flee the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach Azal. And you shall flee as you fled because of the earthquake in the days of Uzziah the king of Judah. And Lord my God shall come, all holy ones with you. And it shall come to pass on that day that there shall be no light, only disappearing light and thick darkness. And it shall be one day that shall be known to the Lord, neither day nor night. And it shall come to pass that at eventide it shall be light. And it shall come to pass on that day that spring water shall come forth from Jerusalem, half of it to the eastern sea, and half of it to the western sea. In the summer and in the winter it shall be. And the Lord shall become king over all the earth. On that day the Lord be one, and his name one. The whole earth shall be changed to be like a plain, from the hill of Rimmon to the south of Jerusalem. But it, Jerusalem, will be elevated high and remain in its old place. From the gate of Benjamin to the place of the first gate until the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananel until the king's wine cellars. And they shall dwell therein, and there shall be no more destruction, but Jerusalem shall dwell in safety. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the nations who besiege Jerusalem. His flesh will waste away while he stands on his feet. His eyes will waste away in their sockets, and his tongue shall waste away in his mouth. And it will come to pass on that day that there will be a great consternation sent by the Lord upon them. Each one shall seize the hand of another, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of the other. Yea, even Judah will fight against Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the nations around about gold and silver and apparel will be gathered in very great abundance. And so will the plague of the horses, the mules, the camels, the donkeys, and all the animals that are in those camps, similar to this plague. And it will come to pass that everyone left of the nations who came up against Jerusalem will go up from year to year to prostrate himself to the King, the Lord of hosts, and celebrate the festival of tabernacles. And it shall be that whoever of all the families of the earth does not go up to Jerusalem to prostrate himself to the King, the Lord of hosts, upon them there shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt does not go up and does not come, it shall not rain upon them. The plague on Egypt will be the same as that which the Lord will plague the nations who do not go up to celebrate the festival of tabernacles. That tells you right there when it's going to be. Such will be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all the nations who do not go up to celebrate the festival of tabernacles. On that day there will be upon the bells of the horses holy to the Lord, and the pots in the house of the Lord will be like the sprinkling bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah will be holy to the Lord of hosts, and all who sacrifice will come and take of them and cook in them. And there will no longer be a trafficker in the house of the Lord of hosts on that day.
Amen.
Yep. There's a lot of commentary on this.
Why the Feast of Tabernacles? Because that's when you hope a non-Jew would come visit you in your sukkah.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, that's what Abraham did. He basically built a sukkah. Well, it actually is a tent, but he had open on all four sides. And when Wayfarer was come by, he was joyous and come in and have a meal. Let's talk about our creator,
Mm-hmm.
And so
Whatever
the
you
nations
do, don't kick the sukkah.
don't kick a sukkah. No.
Don't kick the sukkah. Because that's bad.
All right.
That is the end of that.
Yes. Not all will be exiled. Now, why will he permit them, i.e., Gentile nations, to exile half of them and to plunder the houses, so that they should not have an excuse saying, "We have not come for war, but we have come to prostrate ourselves"? I will gather all the nations to Jerusalem to wage war, and the city shall be captured, and the houses be plundered, and the women shall be ravished, and half the city shall go forth into exile, and the rest of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And Rashi asks, why will he permit Gentile nations to exile half of them and to plunder the houses? So they have no more excuses. Yeah, when you said that's not good, what was that? The next, the Lord shall go forth and wage war with those nations like the day he waged war on the day of the battle, like the day he waged war on the Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
No.
Not good. Nobody survived. Nobody.
That's right. And the women sang,
Played tambourines, right?
yep.
Yeah, I'm looking up mountain here. His feet shall stand on Mount Olives, which is before Jerusalem from the east, and the Mount of Olives shall split in the midst thereof toward, and that's pretty much pshat, everything it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
The Mount of Olives shall split.
Yeah, there's a really big fault line that goes up through there too.
There is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that earthquake's going to be unreal.
The mountains will be made low. See, this is some of that cosmic stuff. It's like I can just picture the world turning. Like the wrong way, not like it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting all kinds of, yeah, when it becomes, wow, it's so worded. I want to go down because I want to get to that one particular part. No light, only darkness and disappearing light.
Mm-hmm.
Neither day or night, and it shall come to pass that at eventide it shall be light. It's like one day everything's going to change.
Yep, like the sun stays up for 24 hours.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read Rashi on this right here. Hang on. And this thing shall be one day of the Holy One, blessed be he. The day shall be known that is for the preparation of the salvation by the Holy One. Neither will it be a light of splendor like the light of the world to come, as stated in Isaiah 30:26, where it says, the light of the sun shall be sevenfold as the light of the 7 days. But going further, he says, nor a time nor a time of trouble, like trouble the preceding subjugation by the kingdoms shall these days be, for they will be the days of the Messiah, and there shall be no subjugation during those days. And about the eventide, when it says, before the 1,000 years are up, there shall be a splendorous light, and all the promised to Israel will come. And so did Jonathan translate, not like the light of day, and not like the darkness of night. When the Mount of Olives is split, that's when the springs come forth.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen that phrase before. Down in 6, it says, in thick darkness, congealed and dark and thick, like ice that has congealed and frozen, as in Job 10:10. And like cheese, you curdled me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but that would be one hell of a pickup phrase. No. I'm warped. I've never seen that before.
Well, I was wondering if it's the same kind of darkness that plagued Egypt when they said the same kind of plagues. I wonder if it's the same thing. They say the darkness was palpable.
Could be.
In Egypt. Like you had a hard time getting out of your chair. It was so thick.
Right.
All right, I want to look up something in Joel. Joel 4:18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down sweet wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the brooks of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. So apparently, it's going to be a fresh water source for the world.
Mm-hmm.
His name shall be known by everyone. There's going to be in a day when all this happens. We keep thinking of like we've got evolution in our heads because it's just what people talk about. But this is going to happen in a day. The fit's going to hit the shan in a day.
Mm-hmm.
The whole earth shall be changed to be like a plain. The mountains will be lowered. The whole world will be a plain, and Jerusalem will be a mountain. So it should appear higher than everything else.
Pole shift. Think pole shift.
That's coming up too.
Mm-hmm.
South of Jerusalem is a plain, and the hill of Rimmon is rocks and clods. Rather, so is the interpretation of this phrase from the hill of Rimmon, which is a mountainous place. From there, the mountains of the world will begin to be changed, made into a plain. It will be like the south of Jerusalem, which is a plain. It will appear high because everything will be brought low and even. And let's see. Check this out. Until the corner of the gate from the tower of Hananel until the king's wine cellars. Jonathan renders the pits off the king, forsec in old French. This is like a word in the Baba Kama 50b, trenches and caves. And so all wine cellars in scripture are expressions of trenches, referring to the pit that is before the wine press into which the wine flows. And the Midrash Agadah, Pasikta de Rav Kahana, page 143a, Song Rabbah 7.4, Mantanoth Kahuna Radal identifies the pits of the king with the ocean, that Jerusalem will reach the end of the world, the pits dug by the supreme King of Kings. Well, this shall be the plague with which the Lord will smite all the nations who besieged Jerusalem. His flesh will waste away like he still stands on his feet. His eyes will waste away in their sockets, and his tongue shall waste away in his mouth.
Okay, in 12 it says his flesh will waste away while he stands. This denotes the falling off of the limbs. That's special. The zombie apocalypse, hey.
So that's where they came up with that. Oh, man. Yeah, here we go. Be a great consternation sent by the Lord upon them. It says to confuse their wisdom, to bring them about to madness. He will seize him to slay him. Whoever is stronger is victorious. Good gravy. They're really working. I mean, it's of course, this is all of this going on. This madness in America is really to demoralize us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worked. A lot of people are really
It's working.
seriously.
Yeah, they are.
But there's also an awakening and a core, a good
Californication. That's the best way to put it. Californication.
That's so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this. 16, it says, in the Festival of Tabernacle, as our sages explained in Tractate of Ordazura 3.8, I have an easy commandment named Sukkah, as stated in the first halakhic discussion. That's why you say, don't kick the Sukkah.
Ross Bearden used to say that too.
Mm-hmm. The plague will be the plague of famine, because no rain will come, and that means no water, no rain, no crops.
Wow, there's a lot about Sukkah. The rain. He says actual rain to cause the produce of their land to grow. Now, what reason did he have for decreeing upon them the withholding of rain? That the commandments of the festival are based on the rains. The 4 species of the lulav and the water libation are to appease God for water. Since the festival of tabernacles, Sukkot, is the time of the rains of the year, no rain will fall on those who entertain doubts concerning the festival of tabernacles. This is learned in the Tosefta of Sukkah 4.7.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
Yes.
Maybe I ought to build one.
A Sukkah? Yeah.
Yeah. I can prepare for it, Lumber's expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people are, gosh, they were making them really cheap, like portables, like in New York and all that. If you look up, images of sukkahs, you can see them.
Yeah, you could find, I'm sure.
Actually, your best bet would go find a bunch of pallets and work from there.
There you go. We're at about that time for the show.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock, isn't it? Time flies.
And there is no poor man. There will be no poor man in Jerusalem. Well, a great book. And if you're watching, hey, we appreciate it. We've gotten some more views on Twitter recently, and love to see that. And love to have you here, my favorite viewer, our favorite viewer. We're going to do this again next week, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Central. And I'm not sure what's coming. I don't know what we're doing because I've got a few ideas just with the sources and the commentaries and what I'm reading here alone. So we'll do something good and good Torah-based stuff next week, 8 p.m. right here, Nilvah Nexus. Rosalie Jordan, thank you, my lady.
Thank you, Mr. James, for hosting.
You rock.
As always.
Until next time, Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Be
Shabbat
well.
Shalom, everybody.